It's finally time to finish the LS coil conversion on the 1.8 Chevy Cruze. Let's do it.
Try not to scratch this thing up. This is a pretty old machine, but I'm just bending this damn thing up. Trying to do it one-handed. See if we got it. I think it needs to go just a little more. Woo! I got this t-shirt down just to make sure I don't scratch anything up.
It's been a good couple of days time to allow this clear to dry. Now the next thing I need to do is wire this thing up. You may have seen from a previous video, here is the wiring loom. Here's our 7-pin connector. I did realize that this didn't come with the steel retainer. However, I ordered it last night. Not a big deal. That takes half a second to stick on, but I'm gonna get after doing the wiring. I have my pins, my connector, my seals, my crimper, and a few other tools here. So let's go ahead and start wiring this thing up. I printed out a few schematics, and we're just going to use what colors. The colors did not exactly coordinate with how GM does things, but that's not a big deal because it's pretty simple to figure out with each of these diagrams. This is for the coil itself, the back of it. This is the overall diagram of the engine, and then here is our connector and how we're going to set things up. I've kind of mocked up the intake to the head just to make sure that, just really to give me an idea of where all this wiring is going to go. I may shorten these down in the future, but I'm not too worried about that at the moment. My main concern is shortening this down because the connector is generally right behind here and just kind of off to the side over by the transmission, so we just need it to be able to reach here. We'll give it a little bit of extra length just in case. So I'll probably cut it off right about there, and then I'll start wiring the pin up. What the hell is all this extra wire for? I ran into a little bit of a snag because when I did cut these wires, I didn't realize within the harness we had multiple wires for all 4 of the coils coming down to 1. So I'm in the process of soldering those 4 back together for the ignition coil. So I'm gonna get after that, and then we'll pin the connector. These 2 I've already soldered back together. I did have to run to Advanced Auto to get some more heat shrink because I ran out of the size that I need to essentially go on these thicker wires. But I just need to solder 1 more, and then we can start the connector, finally. I got that all taken care of. Now we can go ahead and work on pinning this thing up. I'm on connection number 3 here. 3 out of just all of them that I need to do, and I found that this is the best way to do it. Before you trim your casing back, slide your seal on, take your wire crimpers, or not crimpers but strippers, pull the casing off, slide this guy on, and then we'll move our seal up. It's that bottom connection there, or part of it that will just hold it. So I got my wire all the way up towards where it bottoms out. I'm going to take my tool and I'm just going to crimp where the wire's at. So now that's nice and tight. That's not going to let go. And then we'll crimp these down here, which will hold on to the casing as well as our seal. And I can get this in generally one go, but let's get a little sideways. There we go. And there we go. Everything's nice and crimped. I've got every wire pinned, and I am going to have to wire this in a specific sequence, so that way essentially what is color coordinated here, I'm going to pull that through the pin connector. We have A through G. Looking over here at this diagram, this is A, then over here this is G. This essentially is the ignition signal. We got 1, 2 cylinders, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have a ground going to the ECU, and then a chassis ground. So let's go ahead and pull these pins through wherever the hell my block went. So we're just gonna pull those through, make sure we're looking at this diagram correctly. So this is looking at it from the connection side. If, hopefully, I don't get this wrong, but my guess is this is going to be A and this is going to be G. I've got 3 taken care of so far, and I'm just gonna kind of do a real quick demonstration because this isn't the easiest task. So essentially I'm just pushing these pins through, pushing it as far as I can go. We got to make sure we're nice and parallel and coming through the correct hole, and it doesn't look like we are. So make sure we hit that bottom hole in this whole thing. And I got to make sure it's nice and parallel. There we go. You can see it's starting to want to come through. It might be hard to see on camera, but see if we can't push this thing in just a little more, and then we'll just grab the pin with our needle nose pliers and we'll just kind of work it through. You can see our pin is starting to kind of stick out here, so I'm just going to take these needle nose pliers and I'm just going to kind of work it through. It does take a good amount of force, but you don't want to overdo it, which I did on one of them and pulled it through way too much, so I had to back it out. So we're almost there. You can see it down here. So I'm just going to keep kind of working on it and just kind of pulling it out so that way it's even with the rest. The LS coil conversion is finally complete. I'm going to show you what it looks like. I've probably said this about 1,000,000 times in this video, but I am happy with how everything came out. I did have to go back and redo these pins because I just kind of snoozed on it and I left the pink out, and so I had to go back and redo that. Wasn't a big deal. I did spend some time trying to get these things all even as far as the length and then just the overall spacing of these pins. The only thing I would do differently is I probably would have gone back and not cut this, knowing what I know now where all those wires kind of merged, because you can see here, at least just this one here, I mean that connection I just made butts right up into that connector, and the seal didn't completely slide in, although it is butted up right against there. I might be able to just go back and kind of push that in a little bit, but we'll see. And then I just kind of took a little bit of red electrical tape, just close this thing off, trim the casing to size, and it's all ready. So let's dive into HP tuners, and what we'll do is we'll put in all the values that these coils need in order to run. Here we are in HP Tuners, and to access the tables that you need to change in order to make these LS coils work, you'll go to Engine, you'll go to Spark, and then you'll go to Dwell. There's 4 different tabs here. We have a base dwell time, base dwell multiplier, multiplier max, multiplier minimum, and I'll leave a link to the Excel file in order to grab these values and to be able to paste them into these tables. And all you would have to do is paste those values in there, save it, and write it to your vehicle. Well, that's gonna about wrap it up for this project. Kind of sad it's over. On to the next thing. If you're new to the channel, I'm Matt. Be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave them down below in the comments, and leave a comment anyways, even if it's just a hello, because it will help the channel. Until next time, peace out. Peace out.